One of the cool things about science fiction sometimes is it tends to craft a world that's sort of like ours, but not, to try to prove a point. And in this 1981 analog, there's a story by Michael Q. McDowell about a question of compliance, about what happens when big runaway government organizations try to pass rules and regulations that all businesses have to pay attention to, or else that just aren't well thought through and are kind of stupid. And one particular story called A Question of Compliance, it involves a court case where this one airline, actually in this case, somebody with spaceships that went back and forth to the moon and other planets, didn't want to hire this one alien species because it just wasn't going to work. There was something about that particular species that didn't allow them to do that job safely. Now, what was that, you ask? Let's get to that. Now, the fun part was the court case said thou shalt hire them. The airline, the transportation company said we can't. The government said you must. Here's the problem: that particular alien race emitted noxious gases in the form of farts that would corrode the spacecraft and make them not necessarily safe. In fact, you would have leaks when you're in space. Not a good thing to have a non-airtight system. So, of course, well, it doesn't matter. You got to do it. Sure, cross the board price increase for everybody of like 20%, because we have to be compliant with this one thing. And it wasn't that they didn't want to hire the particular alien race just for that particular job. It just wasn't going to work. You could put them in other jobs where they weren't, on the flight crews of these things, and it wasn't a big deal. But if you put them in that particular thing, the health and safety of the passengers and the other crew came into real question because they could take down the ship. I just found it interesting, given all the things we've seen in the news lately about hiring practices and things. So take it for what it's worth. But it's an interesting story. It's in the June 1981 analog. Everybody have a great day.